this is part 2. So we're still going through the transcript. So he asked him if he had the government asked Brandon Paul if Combs has him to test the 2C or test drugs, excuse me. And Brendan replies, yes, he has me test the 2C, the cocaine, the pink cocaine. And I just find that to be maniacal. It's crazy. Did you want to take it, he says. She asks, I'm sorry. I wanted to prove my loyalty. What were Wild King nights? Mr. Combs and significant others, drugs, sex. Did Jane, they're referring to Jane Doe. Did Jane participate in Wild King nights? Yes, he says. Did Mr. Combs' other girlfriends participate in Wild King nights? Not that I'm aware of, so that's interesting. Who called them Wild King nights? KK. I just say he's going to hotels. Did Mr. Combs stop using hotels and move them to the residences? Brendan says yes, after the Cassie lawsuit. So we know that the Cassie lawsuit comes in around November 2024. I'm sorry, November 2023 sometime is when the Cassie lawsuit drops. What did you do? Clean up after. What does this say? That Jane is coming. Brendan is setting it up. Wild King night probable. Where did you make the reservation? Nobu. Where was this Wild King night? Jane's residence. I wrote running to Walmart for them. Government says KK asks Wild King mode active or Gucci bag active. What did you say? And I said between the two. How did you know what to buy for Mr. Combs on the Wild King night? Brennan says, we had a shared document in the Notes app. Who was responsible for the Astroglide? And remember, they found all sorts of Astroglide on the premises when HSI, Homeland Security, went in there. Homeland Security Investigations, that's what the HSI stands for. Homeland Security Investigations, when they went in and conducted the search on Combs' residences. Paul says, the property manager. I didn't think the 200 South Mapleton manager was good. So I took a photo to show the manager how to lay out the Astroglide in her bathroom. So apparently there's a property manager who was responsible to lay out the all of that stuff in the bathroom where Jane was staying while she was at the 200 South Mapleton address. And so he had the property manager, he took a photo so he could show her how everything, an example of how everything was supposed to look, to give her a guidepost for it. How do you put it in for the cash? Robin at TriStar. So this further sort of proves up the RICO, because TriStar is the company that Diddy utilizes to pay all of his employees. He also utilizes TriStar to pay for his criminal activities, which you're hearing about now, but also they laid out earlier last week. Did Mr. Combs contact you from Wild King nights? Yes, by voice notes or FaceTime. He called me to go get a SEX outfit, and the SEX outfit is not for Brendan, but it's for Jane. This came out last week. It also came out during Jane Doe's testimony. But he never called me back, he says. How did you clean up after? I wore gloves. Why? Sanitary reasons. And Brendan, my boy, I do not blame you. Is this a photo of the day of your arrest? Yes. March 25th, 2024. Rented jet. That jet on the tarmac that I referred to earlier. The cocaine you were arrested with, was it Mr. Combs? Objection. That is Brian Steele from the defense, Combs' side. Sustained, the judge says. What is yours? Was it yours? Sometimes the transcript is not perfectly transcribed, so it's not me messing up, it's them, and I'm just sort of trying to correct before I say it to you. Was it yours? No. Was it Mr. Combs? Objection. Overruled. It was Mr. Combs, Brendan says. What did you do after the arrest? A diversion program and drug treatment. No further questions. So, cross, the judge says. You walked up to play basketball at Syracuse for an iconic coach. Yes, Paul says. You played UNC, but COVID ended it. Yes. You weren't just a drug mule, were you? Objection, says the government. Overruled, the judge says. I was not just that. It was a minor part of what you did. Absolutely. Personal use? Rephrase, the judge says. Okay. The hotel nights were personal use. Objection. Rephrase, says the judge. The defense says it was Mr. Combs and Jane relaxation personal, right? From your observation? Brendan says yes. Did you see Jane as hesitant? I did not. The defense. If you saw non-consensual activity, you would not have worked there, right? Objection. Sustained. You would not work for a criminal, would you? No. Let's stick a pin in that. This whole line of questioning is leading. And little baby head Brendan. Now you're telling us that you would not work for a criminal and you would not do any of these things, like none of it, you wouldn't do any of that stuff, and you wouldn't work for a criminal. But you're already committing criminal acts. So how can we believe that you wouldn't work for a criminal? You're buying drugs. You are you're distributing drugs illegally. You are out here, doing things that you shouldn't be doing. You're transporting drugs illegally. Like, you're doing all sorts of things, my friend. I mean, you're buying drugs from multiple drug dealers. Multiple. Like, so I don't understand what his whole testimony is about, that he would not work for a criminal. You work for a criminal. He has you committing crimes. I mean, which is the reason you had to get immunity to even get on the stand today, sir. Oh my goodness. You care about your reputation. Paul says yes. Brian Steele, who, by the way, if the class doesn't know, Brian Steele is the attorney that got the sweetheart deal, if you ask me, for YSL to get out of that lifetime of Fed prison he was looking at out in Atlanta. The trial, the what was it? Gun. I think it was guns. I don't think it was was it drug trafficking and gun trial that YSL was in, and he got wrapped up in. I think this is the same thing that Gunna, the rapper. These are rappers for people who are out there and they're like, what is she talking about? YSL and Gunna, these are rappers. This is the same sort of situation that they were in together. And YSL, he ended up getting YSL a 20 years probation, which is sweetheart deal, switch from probably the 30 years in prison, federal prison, that he was probably going to do. So this is Brian Steele. And Brian Steele is very experienced. He is a very good attorney. However, this line of questioning that he has going on with Brendan is completely maniacal. Completely. Brian Steele, you were arrested for 27 grams. Barely personal use. It was a mistake, right? Yes. And the case was dismissed. Yes. Did drugs make Sean more focused? He got extremely creative. So are we, Brian, still making a case that cocaine is good and cocaine helped Sean be a more creative artist, made him better at his job? Because you're treading on thin ice here, sir. It's just weird to me. Brian Steele, as you sit here today, are you indebted to Sean Combs? Good experiences for the most part, he says. No further questions. So then they go, the government asks sidebar before redirect, and the judge says yes. So they all go up to the judge's bench, and then they come back. Did you know what was happening in the Wild King nights? This is from the government. And objection, Steele says. Rephrase. Were you there? And he says no. What do you think that the $5,000 was for? Objection, sustained, the judge says. Did you give Mr. Combs $5,000 in cash in another context? And he said no. She says, well, you said you wouldn't work for a criminal. Thank you. It's me and you. It's me and you, girl. Me and you are here. I got you on the cross, on that cross, because I'm with you. I was going to hit him with it too. You said you wouldn't work for a criminal, but you bought drugs for Mr. Combs. Yes, exactly. Yes, more than 5 times, less than 10. Doesn't matter if it were 1. How do you feel about Mr. Combs? It's complicated. No further questions. The defense, no recross. Yeah, I know there isn't a recross because you don't want to cross that bridge again. You sure do not. The judge says, thank you. You may go, Mr. Paul. So, Brendan, the drug mule, is gone. So, that's that. And so, the AUSA, so the government moves on. Government says, play the audio message by Mr. Combs. Combs' voice. Have Jonathan do it. The government says, Miss Corcoran, this is KK, replies, John will go to the hotel. We have a bit more, the government says. Then we request a break. And the judge says, okay. Okay, so the government reads, Miss Ventura says, you bashed my head in. Mr. Combs says, you're crazy. Stop flipping on me. For what? You're taking a break? We're taking a break? Miss Ventura, Cassie. I don't want to be beaten down for standing up or ever. Combs says, I try to figure out how to get this nut out. I'm trying to figure out how to get this nut out. So he's talking about SEX. Still reading no witness on the stand. Miss Ventura, all I wanted was to have a good time, and you took all your anger out on me per usual. You dragged me down the hall by my hair. This is not play fighting anymore. I was serious about Rita coming over. Boris had to tackle you, Puff. That's not love. That's possession. I have bleeding cuts. From Combs to Miss Ventura. I am not going to let someone SHIT on me when all I've done is be nice. Really? Oh my, if that's being nice. You don't treat me like the king. You was acting like a bitch. So, okay, so there's a sidebar. And so I'm going to read, let's see. There's a message from Jane that I'm going to read you guys because something came through. During sidebar, there's another Jane message the prosecutors belatedly made available today. So here's a message from Jane that she sent to Sean Combs. I'm crying. I'm so triggered by this because it's too close to some nights I felt forced. Please stop drugging and using women for your fetish nights. It creates demons inside of us and real trauma to women who are only doing it to please you. Let that pain on other women stop with me. Leave women alone who don't want to do those nights with you. Hire prostitutes and stop emotionally harming women that love you. Interesting. She goes on. You want me to have me. You want to have me SUCK some DIC so you can jet off to an island with Gina or Young Miami and you have me do the dirty SHIT in hotel room after hotel room. And so this actually gives corroboration to what Brendan said about the fact that Combs only had Cassie and Jane do the Wild King or Freak Off. Those are interchangeable because they mean the same thing. Freak Off nights. They, for whatever reason, he only used these two particular women for the Freak Off Wild King nights. That's what he used them for. And of course, Gina, people think that since it's already been out in court, Gina think that she is. People think that Gina is victim 3, which is the woman that never showed that the government intended to utilize as a witness, but she didn't show. They didn't go after her for a myriad of reasons, I would guess. I'm guessing the main one is that the government never wants a witness that doesn't want to be there, in truth, because they can torpedo the entire case, particularly if the person has such a personal history with the defendant. It's likely, I don't know what the issue is. There's a myriad of theories floating around in the stratosphere, from she's being paid off to she's being threatened to she's, just doesn't want to be bothered anymore. So we don't know. And then of course, the other person, she refers to the other person as Young, but she's speaking about Young Miami, who was the most, probably the most visible, besides Cassie, the most visible girlfriend that Sean Combs has had in his life, in recent years. So they're back, and it says Jonathan Perez sent this to Fahim. This is Homeland Security. So they have somebody else on the stand right now. Apologies, because the way that the transcript picks up, this is how it picks up. So, okay, so this is Homeland Security. Secharella is on the stand. Did Jonathan Perez send this to Fahim? Secharella says yes. And this is about Anton or Antoine. Is it sorted by date? Please sort it, Miss Becker. So, they're going to sort it and that. So here's another message. So they made another exhibit available. And this message is from Mr. Combs. And I guess this is the message responding to what Jane said. And it says, Mr. Combs says, I'm not even HORNY horny anymore, is what he says. And my answer would have been good. That's would have been my answer. But that's just me. Okay, moving on. The government says, who sent this message? And HSI Santarello says, KK. The government. What does Jonathan write to Fahim? Santarello says, he says, I don't know if you're holding $10,000. Fa said, trying to get some more now. So let me explain. So HSI, which is Homeland Security Investigations, HSI Santarello is a witness for summary. So the summary witnesses, they've been coming on to sort of piece and weave everything together. They are the people that sort of lay out all the receipts. They lay out the monetary receipts. They lay out every single angle of the receipts so that the jury specifically can see how this RICO has laid out and how Combs has designed this enterprise and how the enterprise interconnects and pays and supports everything that he's doing criminally, though it is hidden under the umbrella of a company, of a legitimate company. But really, they're just committing crimes is what they're doing. They're doing real work. I mean, obviously Bad Boy is a real like record label or whatever, but they're also committing real crimes, and he's utilizing the legitimacy of his real record label, of his real businesses to commit real crimes. So that is racketeering, and you can't do it. Okay. Your Honor, I think this is a good stopping point. Since we're ending earlier today, jurors, you may leave. The judge says, don't read anything, all rise. Judge, how many on more on misdirect, Miss Comey? Government, Miss Comey says to midday on Monday. I hope Miss Garagos can finish cross by the end of Monday. Then Rule 29, Mr. Anbofilio. He's asking questions. Do you have any, like, is he against this? And Combs is, okay, so Mr. Agafilio says, we'll be on the shorter side. We'll tell the government over the weekend. If the government rests at the end of Monday, I think we'll rest Tuesday or Wednesday. So this trial is about to be over with. So the defense just said that they are going to start their case on Monday. That they're going to start their case on Tuesday, because they said if the government rests at the end of Monday, they can rest on Tuesday or Wednesday. So that means that they are going to put their case on Tuesday, and they'll be done in 1 or 2 days. Again, this was my point in telling you guys that the defense doesn't have to put anybody on, because the burden of proof is on the Department of Justice. They're the people that has to put a case on to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this person is guilty of the crimes and the counts of which they have charged this person with. So this case is about to go to the jury as early as Wednesday, or I'm sorry, as early as Tuesday of next week. And Lord knows how long it's going to take the jury. I think it's probably going to take the jury some time to comb through all of this information, but who knows? I mean, the Karen Reed trial had a lot of information to comb through, and they took less than a day of deliberation. So you just never know. The judge says, I'll send the proposed charge today. You send edits Tuesday evening. We could do the charge conference on Wednesday and closings on Thursday. You could use the courtroom until 2:30, Mr. Donaldson. If needed, put in a written application. So just reading through here what they have. Got it. This is for the press to be present. Okay. And then they adjourn. So let's see if there's anything else. And I think that is it. That was a lot, guys, that we went through. So it's just this thing is about to be done. It's just about to be done. So we're about to adjourn. We're gonna close the case for the weekend. But thank you for hanging in there with us as I caught you up on everything what's going on with the Diddy, Sean Combs. I hate calling him Diddy because it seems like it's a term of endearment, but with the Sean Combs case, I'm just waiting on pins and needles to see how this thing turns out. But this is very interesting how everything is going. I will keep you guys updated on this Juror 7 alternate situation. But again, as I may have said in another video, I do think that if Sean Combs is found guilty, if he is convicted, I do think that the juror situation is going to be utilized by his attorneys as a post-conviction issue. I think that they're going to try to utilize the jury situation as a post-conviction issue to grant a new trial is what I think is going to happen. Second, it's very, this is a 8 men, 4 women jury. Anything is bound to happen with these trials. Women are known to be harder on other women as it relates to these sort of trafficking cases or any sort of sex violence, SA violence. Women are just harder on other women because it's not what I would do, sort of thing, though you've not been in the situation and you don't know what you would do. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all of this pans out. But we're just going to wait and see how it goes. The one case that I'm going to get into next is the Abercrombie and Finch guy. He is the owner, he's the owner, the mega rich billionaire of Abercrombie and Fitch. He is also in legal trouble with sex trafficking. You've not heard a lot about it. I think one of the reasons is because his trial is not up yet, I don't think. But I think that another reason why it hasn't been publicized is because Combs is a bigger fish. He's more polarized. He's a black man. He is a hip hop star. He is very public, front facing. I barely even knew this Abercrombie and Finch person. I don't know who he is. Like, Sean Combs is a media personality. He's somebody who's wanted you to know who he is. You know what I mean? So that's the reason this has been way more sort of like, front facing and visible. And people have made comments about this, like the fact that the Abercrombie and Fitch guy, who is a white male, has not had a lot of publicity surrounding his case, which is pretty a parallel to Sean Combs, with some differences, of course. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the Abercrombie and Fitch legal proceedings. Please let me know in the comments if you have questions, comments, or anything you would like to say or hear, or topics you want me to cover. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much, and we are adjourned. Have a great weekend.